Brilliant. So good evening, everybody. Lovely to see you all this evening. I think there's about 30 of us on this Zoom, and we've got a lovely menu coming up, which hopefully will help you get ahead for Christmas. I don't know if any of you have made your own mincemeat before, but doing it in a Thermomix makes the whole process seamless from start to finish. Really, really quick and easy, and it tastes absolutely delicious. I've got some little mini mince pies here that I've pre-filled with some of my mincemeat from last week, and they have got, in fact, as soon as I make these, they just disappear. The kids absolutely love them, and the mincemeat is superb. So we're going to be doing some mincemeat, some little mince pies if you've pre-made the pastry. If you wouldn't mind just muting yourself, Sarah, if you could just go along and see if who's off mute and actually try and mute them for me, that'd be really handy. So we're going to make the mincemeat, obviously the mince pies if you've pre-made the pastry, and then we're going to make the homemade Baileys or the toffee fee liqueur. I don't know who's doing Baileys, who's doing toffee fee. Yeah, excellent. And if you're looking for good non-alcoholic alternatives, we did the mulled cider on Friday, a cooking class, an in-person cooking class in Grantham. And I used a combination of low alcoholic cider and some apple juice, and it was absolutely delicious. It's lovely hot or cold. So we've got that, and then we're going to be making some Christmas pudding. So you can either make one large Christmas pudding. I've already made my Christmas pudding, but I'm going to use these little Dario molds or basins, and they're fabulous actually. When I had a practice run a couple of weeks ago, I had one every day with a coffee in the morning, and they tasted just like Christmas cake and really delicious. So I think we'll get started with the homemade Baileys or the toffee fee liqueur. So if you are doing the toffee fee, then hopefully you've got my translation of the recipe to hand. So if you can find either the whiskey cream liqueur or the toffee fee liqueur on Cookie Doo, hopefully you've managed to store it into your week so it's all ready to hand, and if it's on your screen ready to go, let's get cooking. Obviously take the lid off. I'm going to do the Baileys one just because I really like it and it's absolutely delicious, hot or cold. So if you just click start cooking. Now my little trick with this is I tend to use, I think it's, I can't remember if it's this one or the toffee fee liqueur that uses all cream. But I tend to use single cream. Now this is just some long life single cream. I buy this in Booker and it's an unbelievable price really. There's a whole litre for £2.69. So, and it's really good for cooking. So I use that and it's also really cheap. And I'm going to use half cream and then half milk as well. So I've just got some long life milk here, but you can use any milk. So the first instruction is you're going to weigh into the jug on the mixing bowl lid about 250 grams of your whiskey. Now, I'm sure I've done this without actually weighing it on, but let's do it anyway, because we'll follow the recipe. So if we all just zero off our scales and then weigh the whiskey in, seems such a waste of good whiskey. I bought a really good brand of whiskey actually because it was on offer in Asda a couple of weeks ago and it wasn't very much money at all. So I bought the Valentine's one. There we go. So here's the whiskey, and the idea of this is we're just going to, once we've made the main bulk of the mixture, a bit like sometimes when you make mayonnaise or hollandaise sauce, some of the hollandaise sauce recipes, not all of them, they ask you to drizzle your butter or your oil on the lid, and then because you've got a little gap between the measuring cup and the lid itself, then it controls the stream of liquid down into the bowl contents beneath. So it just helps it emulsify a bit more quickly. I'm sure I've done it in haste and in a big rush without actually bothering that, just chucking all the whiskey in, but we'll follow the instructions this time. Right, so set jug aside. So now we're going to put in the milk chocolate and dark chocolate pieces. So I tend to use, this is Callebaut chocolate. I buy it in, again, big bags from Booker, or you can buy it on Amazon. This is what a lot of professional chocolate makers use, I've got a combination of milk and dark here, 20 grams each. So hopefully, no, what have I done? I've done more than 20 grams. Oh, yes, darling. Let's just take a few out. I want 40 grams in total, don't I? I actually know what I was going to do. I was going to double up the recipe, but I daren't double it up because I'll just be drinking it all. So put in your 20 grams of milk and your 20 grams of dark chocolate. So if you use the callets, then you won't need to do much chopping up at all. And then 160 grams of sugar because they're already pretty small. So I'm just going to use standard white sugar going into that Thermomix. 160. And then 400 grams of the single cream. So this is where I'm going to use 200 grams of single cream and then 200 grams of milk. Yes, okay, darling. Right, Mummy's just doing a Zoom now, so you can't keep coming and showing me things. Okay. Okay, so that's 200 grams of the cream and then 200 grams of milk just to make it up. So if you still find this too thick, you may well be able to get away with all milk. Okay. And then an egg. I'm just going to have that. I've actually only got quite large eggs. I buy them from a local farm and they all seem to be quite large at the moment. And then lid on, click on next, and it's just going to mix that together at speed 10. Okay. And then we're now just going to heat this up. So it's going to heat for 5 minutes, 90 degrees, speed 3. So we're just going to heat it all up. So are we all making this? Have we made it before? Oh, sorry, just oh, no, she's gone out. Anyone made it before? It's dangerous. Sharon, I'm sure you have. Just melting chocolate into the milk and cream. I bet that would be quite nice actually to drink without the whiskey in. And if you're making the toffee-free version, you'll be using vodka instead of whiskey. I'm sure you could use lots of different strong liquors or liqueurs and have a play around with different versions. Okay, so I said that I would do a little bit of a demonstration of the Viennese wild mince pies whilst the Baileys is heating up. So here are my little mini mince pies. These are gorgeous, these tins. So normally the muffin tins have got 12 holes. These have got 24. And they just make lovely little canapes and bite-sized pieces of food, which somehow don't seem as naughty when you're eating them, but obviously then the temptation is to eat loads of them. Lindsay, what liquor are you making? So I'm making a homemade Baileys here. So I'm using whiskey in the Baileys. Okay. If you, so feel free to obviously use the chat, and in fact in sort of downtime, whilst your Thermomix is cooking and you're listening to me, it'd be really nice if you could just pop in the chat who you are, who your advisor is, where you're from, because I know we have people join us from up and down the country, and whether you're in, I think most of you are owners because obviously you're all cooking along with me, but sometimes we have people that aren't owners that join the call. So in here, I've got the filling, the topping rather, for the Viennese wild mince pies. What I wanted to do is just show you how to pipe. I'm going to get a nice view of my tables there rather than that. If I just pop it there, hopefully you can see that. So whenever you pipe, you need to get a really nice tight sort of seal on your piping bag. So I tend to just pull my thumb and forefinger down onto the top of the ingredients inside and then just wrap the rest of the bag around my finger give it a twist at the top. Susan coming in again. And then you've got a lovely tight seal on the bag. You can see that it's, and it's really easy to use. You've got full control. Generally, when you pipe, you always use your piping, or hold your piping bag at a 90-degree angle. So we're going straight down on top of where we're going to pipe. So we're not off to the side like that or like that. We're going straight down. And then with these, I just give it a little squeeze and pipe round in sort of like a circle, like this. Now this is quite, I've got quite a large tip on here. And I'm just going to go round like this. Because I made this mixture last week and I've rebeat it. It's been frozen and I've rebeaten it a couple of times. And it looks like it's just herbal this evening. I think the butter's just got a bit warm when I remixed it a couple of times, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll chill it down in the fridge and we'll see what happens. So you can see I'm just going to go and top the rest of these mince pies. And actually, I really like these Viennese mince pies. If I just come back and get rid of them, get rid of that one actually. Push it more towards. I think I prefer them to normal mince pies, and they do look really lovely with the whirl on top. Like a little biscuity whirl. Quite satisfying as well, just chopping them off. You can see just working.
Lindsay, yeah. Somebody asked where you get the 24-hole muffin tin from, or the tin.
I would always have a look on Amazon or eBay. You'll almost certainly find it there. But I happened to see it. I was in a local shop in Grantham called Boys. It's a hardware store, and quite often they have like discounted kitchen equipment. And I just happen, I always have a nose because I'm a bit of a sucker for lots of kitchen equipment that I don't need.
Sharon actually says that Sainsbury's sell them.
Oh, do they? Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Sharon. And I found it in there in the summer. I just happened to pick it up. And these are Jamie Oliver ones, actually. So I was really pleased with that because I haven't seen any of Jamie's bakeware for a long time. So there we go. So what I'll do with those, now they're all beautifully piped, is I'm just going to pop them into the fridge so that the butter hardens before then I bake them. So let's just pop them in the fridge. That was really good timing. My first stage of the Baileys finished. So hopefully yours will have done too. I'll just turn that around like that. Okay, so click on next. Well, it already looks good, doesn't it? It hasn't got the alcohol in it. It's already that authentic colour. And then, with the measuring cup still in place, what you're going to do, oh, I've made a complete mess down my screen, so I need to just wipe that up. Like that. Okay, so with the measuring cup, sometimes I just lift it up a little bit because sometimes it will just drop down and form quite a tight seal, and obviously you want a little gap, although there is you'll notice there are areas cut away on the measuring cup, and that is obviously to let the liquid down into it. You'll see there's a little gap, a couple of little holes when it's put in place. And so with the measuring cup still in place, you're going to have the blades turning, and it's set to about 4 minutes at speed 3. All you're going to do, see it coming in. All you're going to do is just drizzle this whiskey sort of slowly onto the lid. Okay, just keep drizzling it. And then it will just drip down onto the turning blades. And then we're just going to let it cook out, really. Shouldn't take 4 minutes. I am quite tempted just to shove the whole lot in and see what happens. I do like finding shortcuts because I'm so busy in my life that I don't have time to wait around. So I love speeding things up if possible. Portuguese water bread being one of them. I don't know if anybody's done attempted the speeded up version yet. But That does save you about two and a half hours. There we go. Just goes it all around. I'm going to have a look at everybody now on gallery view. See, lots of people with their cameras off. Hi, Chris and Sharon. Didn't see you come in there. Say hi. I don't know. Is Linda, are you cooking tonight? Are you watching? I'm surely you're
I'm cooking.
Yeah,
I'm doing the toffee liqueur.
Oh, the toffee
with the vodka. Yeah. I made the Baileys the other day, so this is another one.
Another one. Normally Linda gets the job on our team demos of doing all the booze.
Is the Baileys liqueur on Cookadoo?
Yes, it's called Irish cream or whiskey cream liqueur.
All right,
that's the recipe. So if you've got my prep notes that I did email everybody that registered before today, if you registered during the day today, you might not have received them. But I have got links to all the recipes in there. So I'll just include them. I'll email everybody after the session later in the week with the recipes again. So how long have I got? I've just got a minute and a half left on there. So Linda, where are you up to with the toffee liqueur? Are you? Is it quicker to do? I forget that most people have only got one Thermomix, so I can't chop and change between both Thermomixes this evening. I have to wait and do it all in one. But perhaps some of you will decide to add another one as a little Christmas gift to yourself. Okay. So while we're just waiting for that to finish, I have just got a few more mince pies that I can top. Then I ran out of mincemeat actually for the rest of them. So let's just get that back here again. Where did I do that? I think I put that there, hang on. Like that. And I'll just top the remaining ones. It's great, isn't it, having a sous chef leaving you free to do lots of stuff like this. Don't have to do multiple things at once with your own hands. I think these are now my preferred mince pies, rather than just a boring sort of pastry lid or a little cutout shape. I'm hoping I'll just have enough just to do the last ones, and then I'll fill the rest of them with the mincemeat that we're about to make. Just give it a squeeze down from the top. Bring these ones in. There we go. Okay, so I'll just put these out of the way. I think I could just put them back in the fridge. So my Thermomix is finished. I'm sure yours are not far behind. There we go. Look at that. Homemade. I think you can see it from this view. Let's just push you back again a bit. So homemade Baileys. I'll just give it a little scrape down with a spatula. On the top, because some of the chocolate just gets thrown up around the top with the blades spinning. Smells amazing. Look, and it's not too thick. I mean, it will thicken up a little bit on cooling, but hopefully now we've used that half cream, single cream, not double cream as well, and half milk. It should remain nice and well, a lot runnier. So there we go. I'm just going to see if I can decant it. It might be a little bit warm to go straight into that bottle. But you guys will need to decant it into something. I mean, if you've got extra bowls, then obviously you can put your extra bowl in and we can get on with something else. But if you've made it and you've got it in one bowl, then you will need to decant it out so that we can get on with making the mincemeat. I'm just wondering if I put it in, it should be all right. It's glass, isn't it? It's reasonably thick glass. I'm just going to decant it straight. Here's my funnel. Just decant it into here. These make fantastic little gifts as well, edible gifts. So you can buy some lovely little bottles, which are a bit of a, nice bottles that you can refill, and you can give them to friends and family as Christmas presents. And I worked it out, you save a good £4 or £5 a litre by making it yourself. And there's nothing nicer than a handmade gift like that that's truly unique and special.
Lindsay,
how
much would this? How long would this last for? Assuming you don't drink it.
Well, not long in our house,
No.
but I know that's not what you mean.
No, I mean, as a gift.
Okay, so I would tend to store it in the fridge, perhaps until ready. I think it will last for quite a long time, a good month stored in the fridge.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm drinking mine now.
If you look on the cookie dough recipe, they do generally, if you go onto the recipe detail, let me move that out of the way, it does sometimes give you storage advice. Drink or still hot, transfer to bottles, allowed to cool, refrigerate and serve cold. Actually, it doesn't say how long it will keep. I mean, you've got to think, you've got almost sort of a half to a third content by volume of whiskey, of alcohol. So it's really going to preserve it. But I think just to be sure, I'd keep it in the fridge.
Sure. I don't think it will last that long anyway.
No, I think you're probably right.
Well, I'm trying mine now. It's gorgeous. It's lovely.
I know, it's lovely. Have you made it before, or is this the first time? No, it's,
No.
And it has got a real kick to it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I saw an owner today, and he said to me, "Oh, it's better than the real thing," and he prefers it warm. So who knew it would be so delicious?
I'd never had it warm before. It's a completely different drink. It's incredible.
Yeah, really lovely. Thank you. Right, so you may want to, you'll probably want to rinse out your bowls then if you've only got one bowl and you're not chopping and changing, because we'll go on to making the mincemeat, and we've got very different ingredients in here to what we are going to put in the mincemeat. So let's just give it a rinse. Sorry for the loud noise. Apparently my AirPods pick everything up and magnify it, so it might sound like I'm currently facing a flood. But I am just rinsing out my bowl at the sink. And there are so many different types of liqueurs and drinks that you can make. You can make, I'm sure there's like a Tia Maria or a coffee type liqueur. You can obviously make things like espresso martinis, all the cocktails that we do in summer, frozen margaritas, daiquiris, that sort of thing. But it's worthwhile looking at the liqueurs actually on Cookie Doo, because there are some really nice ones as well. And you can have a play about with like different alcohols as well, and see which one that you prefer. Right, so just give it a rinse out and a dry bowl. Back in. This is the person coming to see me. You all right, Via? Okay. And then go back to my wheat. I'm not going to bother washing out my lid. And then I'm going to pick up, that's what I did at my demo earlier, go into my mincemeat recipe, because I think we'll do the mincemeat next, and then, gosh, we're making quite good progress tonight. I always try and do too much, so I was determined this evening not to do a huge amount. Actually, we might be finished on time for once. That'll be a first. Right, so are we all ready to get started on the mincemeat? Give us a thumbs up, or yeah, brilliant. Okay, I've got some thumbs up. If you want me to slow down, please just say, don't be afraid of calling out and asking me to slow down, because I can't see. I mean, I can see some of you, but I can't see all of you. And I'd rather take things a little bit more slowly and go at your pace. Right, so let's make some mincemeat, which is very exciting, absolutely delicious. So the first thing we're going to do is put some sugar into the bowl. So here are my ingredients for my mincemeat. Knew that would fall off. So the first thing we're going to do is put our sugar in a bowl. So 50 grams of sugar going in, and then half a lemon. This is a little tip. So I often will peel lemons and oranges before I use them, and I just store the peeled zest in cling film inside a bag in the freezer, and then it's already on hand for when you need it. So I peeled all of these last week, and then they've just been sat. In fact, these ones have been sat in the fridge because I knew I'd use them, but they store really well in the freezer. Right, let's just let melon. So half a lemon, and then the next one is half an orange. I probably use a bit more than that because I just love it, actually. Love the orangey flavour. Such a beautiful flavour. As soon as I smell this, I used to be a professional cake maker. I used to make a lot of fruit cakes at this time of year, and it always just reminds me of when I used to make endless amounts of fruit cakes. My kitchen would smell divine. Okay, so now we're going to grind up the sugar and the peel together. So 20 seconds at speed 10. One of the best things about your Thermomix, isn't it? I don't know why I'm drinking wine when I've got warm Baileys next to me. Oh, that's because my bowl was wet, but it's still, I mean, it's ground it down, it zested it beautifully. So again, another process that us Thermomix owners don't have to do, stand there with a grater or a zester grating things. And again, oh, that smell when you lift the lid is absolutely delicious. It's a bit like the start of making your lemon drizzle cake. You grind the lemon and the sugar together. So, lovely citrus sugar. Okay, click on next. Now, next, we're either going to use some suet or some butter. Now, I think I've done it with both. I tend to use the vegetable suet rather than the animal one. I think it dissolves a little bit better, actually. So vegetable suet going in, 100 grams. Or you could use half and half if you wanted to, but it's good to know that you can substitute it with butter. If you couldn't find suet, as Cutty, did you eventually find some today? And then you're putting in the apples already cut up, peeled and cut into pieces. So this is where I save all the apples from my children's packed lunch boxes that they don't eat. And then pop them in the mincemeat, which they will eat. If only they knew, they'd be horrified. I didn't do that last week, by the way, for the cooking class. Oh. Right, now some lemon juice. Minus the seeds or the pips. Hang on a minute, oh dear, I've got a pip in there. I could pour it through a sieve, couldn't I? I should have a little sieve there. There we are. That's what I can do. So just one gram out. Come on. Take 2 grams out. So click on next, 30 grams of orange juice. Doesn't it speed up cooking when you've got it already prepared? It makes it much more fun as well. That's what we were taught to do at college as well. So we'd have everything laid out, already ready to prepare. So when we actually came to cook, it was dead easy and much less stressful. So that's my top tip for Christmas. Put the lid on, and then we're going to chop up the apples. Mix it all together. Scrape down the sides. Looks like, oh, that smell. It's just amazing when the lid comes off. I love it. Scrape down the sides, and then we're going to add in, well, you can either add in 100 grams currants, 100 grams sultanas, 100 grams raisins, or what I tend to do is I've just got about 300 grams of the dried mixed fruit, and I've got cherries and I've got apricots in it as well. And this is pre-soaked in brandy too. So you don't technically need to add the brandy at the end, but actually I think it makes it quite thick if you don't. So I'm going to add some more brandy in for good measure. So let me just whale that in. I think I've got about the right amount here. Yeah, I might actually just toss in the rest of it. I think I've got, we'll certainly use it because the kids seem to be obsessed with mince pies now. And I'm doing things like the mincemeat. You can make a mincemeat ice cream. You can make mincemeat crumble cake, which is really good. So 2 teaspoons of ground mixed spice. Here we go. So I'm just using the Asda version, but you can make your own. I mean, there's cinnamon and coriander. What have we got in here? Cinnamon, coriander seeds, nutmeg, cloves, pimento and ginger. So it's a bit like the allspice berry, I should imagine, which has got that sort of peppery kick to it. And you can actually grind your own whole cloves in the Thermomix as well. Right, so that's all gone in. Who knew mincemeat was that easy? Well, I'm sure some of you will have made it before, but I hadn't. I mean, even as a chef, I hadn't made it until I was the Thermomix owner. I just couldn't understand why not once I realised how easy it was. So all we've got to do now is just heat it up and wait. Now, Delia Smith does a version. I know a lot of people do Delia Smith's mincemeat. That cooks overnight in the oven. I've never compared the two side by side. I have heard some people sort of just say that the suet doesn't, sometimes with our one, the suet doesn't seem to render down, but I've never had a problem with the vegetable suet actually, or if you use butter as well. Hi Yola, I can see you on screen. What are you making? Your toffee liqueur or your caramel and chocolate liqueur? Because you couldn't find the toffee please.
Yeah, caramel, toffee, chocolate or whatever.
Honey.
Galaxy chocolate. Couldn't find anything.
Have you made it before?
No.
Who have you got in the background?
I made Bailey.
Yeah, hello, somebody's in the background. You've made Baileys. Oh, brilliant. So all we've just got to do is just let it cook. Now, last week, yes, hello.
Hello, sorry, quick question. How much of the mixed fruit did you add? Was it 300?
Well, it was 300 grams. I just added the raisins, currants and sultanas together.
Brilliant.
Having said that, I just ended up adding in the rest of my mixed fruit for another couple of 100 grams.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think it's an exact science. I don't think it really matters.
Thank you.
And already, I mean, it just smells. I absolutely love I'm so fascinated still after 4 years of owning a Thermomix just by watching it work. I'm a bit sad. But 5 minutes feels quite a long time when you're waiting for something to come out. Has anybody got any questions so far that I might be able to help you with? How many have you? Is this all your? Some of you will have had your Thermomix for longer. Who's first Christmas? Who is having their first Christmas with Thermomix? Oh, I think everybody's busy cooking. Oh, Yola's first Christmas with Thermomix. Got lots of treats in store. You can do so much fun stuff. A couple of years ago, and again at the cooking class that we did in Grantham on Friday, you can make some really fun breads. The Christmas tree pull-apart bread is really, really worthwhile doing. Ever so easy. You make a little dough and then form balls, and then you chop up some you make effectively like a cheesy garlic filling, and then fill the dough balls and then arrange them in a sort of Christmas tree shape on a baking sheet. It looks brilliant. Fantastic centerpiece. Really good if you've got friends coming round for drinks and to serve as, with nibbles. So there's some lovely Christmassy type recipes. And of course you can do things like all your cranberry sauce, your bread sauce, your brandy butter. or brandy cream. It becomes really difficult actually to find brandy butter in the supermarket. Maybe I just always leave it too late because I'm a bit of lastminute.com always. But when I had my Thermomix, I realised I could just really easily make my own brandy butter just by making a standard sort of buttercream, which is of course incredible in Thermomix, makes it very easy, beautiful, smooth, creamy result, and then adding some brandy to it. It's as simple as that. So we'll be making lots of stuff, chicken liver pate, and if you want to join us next week, my team and I are doing more of a demonstration next week on Wednesday the 30th in the evening, again on Zoom, just showcasing some of these other recipes, because of course it is quite a lot for you to prepare alongside us. So we're all going to take a couple of recipes each and just hopefully give you some more ideas for your Christmas, what you can serve at Christmas to yourself or your guests. But the chicken liver parfait is an absolute classic. Angela Hartnett uses her Thermomix to make all of her parfaits, and you just get this absolutely deliciously smooth result. So we've got about 19 seconds left to go. I'm getting impatient now, and then I'm going to grab my jar. In fact, I'm probably just going to fill the rest of my mince pie cases directly from the fridge. Should I put my, I think I'll put my oven on actually. Put it on so I can cook them. Right, now, the next bit is adding some almonds. I don't tend to bother. You can do if you want to, the flaked almonds. I don't know why I don't bother actually. I just don't really like the idea of chunks of almonds in my mincemeat. And then a tablespoon of brandy. So if you want to know how to measure out a tablespoon without getting your measures out, or, I mean, sometimes you can just like glug it in. I mean, it is, it's up to you. I just put my scales on and then weigh in about 15 grams of brandy. That's a tablespoon by weight. Tablespoon brandy, and then stir it in with a spatula. That looks so good. It's going to be really potent because it's got that extra fruit mixed with brandy and then extra brandy. Oh, blimey. I'll send you to sleep. So there's your mincemeat. I mean, how easy is that? All done. No hanging around, no cooking overnight with the expense of running an oven. We've run that Thermomix for about 5 minutes to make it. So little tip again, some of you that have been to lots of my demonstrations will have seen this before. But in Thermomix land, we don't like using and dirtying more equipment than we have to, because inherently we're all really lazy. So I'm going to pop the lid on that's already dirty, obviously from cooking, onto my jar, just like that. And I'm going to use it as a jam funnel. So I'm going to be able to put my ingredients straight into my jar through the hole in the Thermomix lid. Means you don't have to dirty another piece of equipment and then have to wash that up using like water and energy, your energy and energy that you pay for to do it. So I'm all for saving energy these days. More time to enjoy drinking Baileys. So just fill your jar up, and then you can push it down with a spoon just to make sure there's no sort of air bubbles in there. I found some mincemeat actually. I had a bit of a clear out of my cupboard, but I must have made probably a couple of years ago now on a demo. Still in the back of my cupboard, a little bit of mould on it. I did actually scrape it off and see if it was still edible, and it kind of was, so it's gone back in my cupboard. I'll do something with that hopefully this year. Don't want it staying in there another year. Right, so I'm just going to leave that there, because now, I mean, there's no point washing the bowl out, is there really? We're just going to make the Christmas pudding, which has got kind of similar ingredients to what's gone into the mincemeat. So there's my mincemeat in a jar. Look at that, delicious. Wow, smells amazing. So we use white sugar, but you can use dark sugar. If you use sort of dark brown sugar, you'll get probably a darker mincemeat, more like a traditional colour, I suppose. And then what I'm going to do is just use some of that mincemeat just to fill the rest of my mince pies with while we're waiting. So just open up my piping bag and pop in the rest of this. It seems to be settling a little bit. Dear, you all right? You tired? No? Do you want to go to bed? No, I didn't think so. Is anybody in there with you? No? I love my older children. So, let's get that out. And I'll just get the rest of my mince pies out. And while I'm doing this, I mean, if you want to wash up your bowls, you can, or you can just get your ingredients ready for the Christmas puddings. Who's made their Christmas pudding so far, or who is saving it to you tonight? Are you all going to try and steam it in the Thermomix? Yeah. So if you're making a large Christmas pudding, I would keep it somewhere cool overnight. And then steam it tomorrow morning, or tomorrow, when you're back from work. Just because there are 4 lots of 90-minute steaming periods, which you don't really want to. Well, I suppose you could sit up this evening drinking Baileys, waiting for it. Oh, here comes Rhiannon. So I'm just going to fill each of those. And then I've got plenty of mincemeat left over for something else. This mixture's got lots of apricots in it. And peel, and that one's got a big cherry, yum, yum, yum. So there we go, straight in. Like that. Put over the side. And then my topping again. And for those that have just joined, I'll just bring on this round so you can see it more easily. Okay. There we go. So holding the piping bag again at 90 degrees, squeezing that topping out. It just gives a really sort of professional, neat finish, I think. It's really nice as well. So effectively a sort of a biscuit dough, this one. It's gone a bit wrong. Right, there we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to chill these down, waiting for my oven to heat up. So 48 mini mince pies. I wonder how many will be left by the end of tomorrow. It'll be interesting. Between 4 children, it's 12 each. I reckon they could do that in a day. They're like gannets. Right then, Christmas pudding. Okay, so let's find it on our planner. Back to the weekly planner. Christmas pudding. Start cooking. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm not sure if it puts the sugar in, it just puts in the, hang on, let me just have a quick, just go into the steps of the recipe, add the raisins, add the salt. Ah, right. So you want to pick up the recipe at step 4, okay, which is mixing together or creaming together the butter, sugar and the eggs. Now what I'm going to do first of all, so I'm going to go on to step 4. So ask it. Now I've halved the recipe because I'm just going to make these little mini ones, and I don't want to end up with loads of them, mainly because I will just eat them, and I could do without that. But the first step of the recipe, a bit like when you make a lemon drizzle cake, I've just put in my orange. I've put some orange zest and some orange peel and some lemon peel in with the sugar. So I'm just going to weigh in the sugar. It should be about 50 grams of sugar with the peel. And then I'm just going to whiz it up because I have not soaked my own, I have not zested the orange and the lemon and soaked it in with the fruit. I mean the fruit, because I'm using the pre-soaked fruit, and it has got obviously some peel in it, but I just think this adds extra citrusy flavour, which is never a bad thing. So I'm just going to go back onto my dials. So I've put the sugar and some lemon and orange peel in there. And I'm just going to do, not my mincemeat. I'm just going to give it sort of 10 seconds, at speed 10. Yeah.
Lindsay, somebody has asked if the pies freeze well.
Before baking, you mean?
I know. Sharon.
Sharon. Was that you, Sharon? Which Sharon?
Yeah. CHARRON.
Hi.
When they're cooked, I was wondering.
Oh, I think so, yeah. I mean, it's effectively a biscuity. Pastry freezes really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, I think you can freeze them comfortably.
And do the steaming sessions have to be done immediately after each other, i.e. need to be around 90 minutes to restart?
Yeah, I would say so, yes, I'm afraid. Right, so I've ground up the brown sugar and the orange and lemon. I'm just going to give it a little scrape down because it's all stuck around the sides, because obviously I had a sticky bowl to start with. I mean, this is one of the great things, isn't it, with the Thermomix, is that you can actually, if you're clever about how you sequence things, you don't really have to do much washing up at all. I mean, the other day I made an incredible amount of things, and I didn't even do a pre-clean in between each stage. I just thought, oh, well, I sort of use a similar ingredients, so I'll just keep going. Right, that's my sugar. So I'm going to pick up the recipe again and now add some butter. So to 100 grams, I'm going to use 50, and it is really properly soft because it's been sat in my warm kitchen for about 4 hours. So the sugar's gone in, 2 eggs. So I'm just going to use 1 egg. Oh, go back a step, put the lid on, and then we are going to turn the speed select to speed 4. And just let the Thermomix do all the mixing and hard work for you. Ooh, that Baileys is good warm. You get the real chocolatey flavour coming through. Mind you, I think I actually added a bit too much chocolate in. Never mind. Oh, brilliant. And you're in the theatre. You're looking after her.
Oh, sorry, Lindsay, can I just ask? Sorry, I think I've got
Yes, of course, Sharon.
You've gone to the session where you've just put the butter in. Have you put the eggs in as well?
Yes. Yeah, I think, did it all go in together, or have I skipped ahead? No, I think in this, okay. In this recipe, you put your butter, your brown sugar, and your eggs in together.
Okay, cool.
And then you put the lid on, and then you mix it together for about 30 seconds. So look, you get this beautiful, that's creamed it together really well, actually. Can you see in there? So I'm just going to give it a scrape because I've got stuff still stuck around my mixing bowl from the mincemeat. I mean, you can give it a minute if you want to. I mean, it will look slightly curdled because you haven't got anything else in it. Mixture tends to look curdled, cake mixture, until you add some flour to it. So it says scrape down the sides of the bowl with a spatula. Right, now we're going to add some self-raising flour. So in here, I've already got my flour and my spices all together. So I'm just going to add those in. This will be interesting actually, because I didn't halve the spices, but then I always think that you can go a little bit heavier on them. 100 grams of suet. So here's my 50 grams. And if you didn't want to use suet, I suppose you could just add a bit more butter if you wanted to, or you could use something like Trex vegetable fat, which is probably suet, just to dry it out a bit more. Is anybody doing a gluten-free version? So you can do, here you could, I don't see why you couldn't use gluten-free self-raising flour and gluten-free baking powder. If you're using your flaked almonds, you put them in now, and your spices. So I'm just going to skip through the spices because I've already put my spices in with my flour. Lid on, and then 10 seconds at speed 3. Okay. So this is where it should look more like a sort of a cake mixture now. There we go. Just gonna give it a stir. I've got some flour just picked up around the side. Okay, so here is my soaked fruit. Can't remember how much it was, but obviously I've just halved it. And any of the juices. I might add a little snifter of brandy, just to be on the safe side. Put a little splash in. There we go. Maybe an extra splash. It's Christmas. And then lid on. Well, it won't be Christmas when I'm having them tomorrow with a cup of coffee, but never mind. It'll make the swimming lesson more bearable. And then we're going to just use the Thermomix to mix it together. So, I mean, really, it just couldn't be easier, could it? Just like making a standard sort of cake mixture. Let's get rid of those. I'll go there. Get my little pudding basins ready. Okay. Now, I don't know if I can just, no, I don't think that's going to work really. Either. Ah, that's not too bad. Right. So Lynn, I know you're just coming in. We're nearly done. In less than an hour, you're going to have to pop round. This is great for, maybe we can just take this out on a dog walk. I hope the homemade Baileys. So we've got the Baileys. We've made some mincemeat, so a jar of mincemeat like we had in a cooking class on Friday. And now we've just finished our Christmas pudding. So we've literally done everything. So this is my Christmas pudding mixture, which looks delicious. So all I'm going to do now, I mean, obviously, if you've got a large pudding basin, you can put it directly into your pudding basin. I am going to just fill each of my bowls. I'm going to get just a little pair of scales out for this. I think I worked out it's about 100 grams mixture per bowl. Can't actually remember when I did this a few weeks ago. Maybe I'm going to try 100 grams. That sounds about right. Nice round number. So just going to fill my, so what I've done with these pudding basins, oh, look at that, 100 grams perfectly, is I've greased them with some butter, and then I just put a layer of flour. I find that really works well to stop stuff sticking. There's nothing worse when you've made a beautiful pudding and you can't get it out of the bowl. There we go. Oh, maybe that. I halved this recipe because I didn't want to end up with too many of these. But maybe Lynn, you can pop in for a coffee and after walking waffle, and then we'll have one of these with a bit of coffee. Yum.
How many grams per serving do you have for the Christmas puddings?
The mini ones, the ones that I'm making now.
Yes. Yes.
I'm weighing in about 100 grams to each container. 100 grams of mixture.
Right,
thank
you.
Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah, lovely. So that's made 5 of them. And then you owners will know, well, hopefully you should know, if you've got mixtures stuck around the blades like that, what we're going to do is we're just going to put the lid on and then go back to the home button on the side and then find your turbo function, and then you can use the turbo. I usually set it to 2 seconds. You just use the turbo to spin all the mixture that's left on the blades off the blades. Because I hate waste of any kind, I have to say. So my kids get very upset with me that I don't let them, well, not I don't let them lick anything out. There is actually nothing to lick out the bowl when I'm finished. So here we go. I'll just pick up the rest. So it means that you can get the rest. Just divide it in between the bowls. So it's probably the end about 110 grams per pudding basin. And then this is the clever bit, because now we're going to use our Thermomix to steam them. And the advantage of doing these little mini ones, I mean, I do think they look really quite nice, actually. I love doing mini things. Other than looking really sort of chefy and nice, they cook in 45 minutes, which is a definite bonus to having to steam it for the best part of 6 hours. Obviously, if you've got a pressure cooker, I mean, when I used to make my Christmas puddings, without a Thermomix, but even with my Thermomix, I do actually, I have to say, pressure cook them instead. But you've got the option with the Thermomix, obviously cook it in the Thermomix. So I'm just going to probably push the mixture down with a little spoon. Just push it down, make it nice and neat. Now you can just put a greaseproof circle or a baking parchment circle over the top if you want to. I must admit, I didn't actually get round to that this afternoon, so I'm not going to bother. But what I do find quite helpful with steaming is I'm going to put a little foil cover over the top of them. They won't, I mean, they're not going to rise hugely. They'll rise a little bit, but it's quite a dense mixture, obviously. So, puddings won't rise a huge amount, but they should come up a little bit. So I just cut out some little bits of foil.
Lindsay?
Yeah, hello.
Sorry to interrupt. I've just done that turbo thing to get the extra mixture up, and it won't release.
Yeah, so press the home button and it will release. Yep.
Perfect. Yep, thank you.
Go. Took me a long while to figure that one out. So here's my little bit of foil, and I'm just going to put a little foil cover over the top and just squeeze it down over the sides. I always try and find a shortcut for something if I can. This just stops the tops getting soggy when the water condenses off the top of the aroma lid. There we go. And then, so we're just going to place them in our aroma. I'm just going to put them inside the aroma dish, like that. Exactly like when I make yogurt. I've worked out that 5 of them do fit in here quite nicely. There you go. You could use ramekins if you don't have those molds, those little pudding basins. And then I'm just going to give this a little bit of a rinse out. And we're going to fill it with some water and we're going to start to steam it. So, oh, who's discovered the new short pre-clean mode? Oh, it's amazing. It's quieter and it does such a good job in a really short space of time. Where's my lid? All right, here we go. Lid on. So the short pre-clean mode.
Lindsay, what?
Yes.
Lindsay, what are the size of your pudding basins?
I put it all on the, let me just set that off. I did put it on the prep sheet. And now I can't, let me have a look. I don't think off the top of my head. I think they were they a 7 centimetre diameter? Let me just have a look. They're Dario molds and they are 8 centimetres by 5 centimetres depth. So my ones I had from John Lewis years ago, but Kitchen Craft and Tala make them. You can find them on Amazon or Nisbets, a catering company like Nisbets. I think my very old ones came from Nisbets years ago.
Okay.
But they are just I mean, they really are. I mean, these were silverwood. I think I probably got these from Nisbets, but they are just standard. Should be a standard size of Dario mold. Sometimes you can find them. I like to have a snoop around the homeware section in TK Maxx, and often you'll see them in TK Maxx. But it is a bit hit and miss, unfortunately, that shop.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so it's just telling me I've got a minute left to go on my. Oh no, not even a minute. There we go. The new short pre-wash. Absolutely love it. So I'm just going to give it a little finish off with my cleaning brush. I mean, you don't, this is what I love again with this thing, you don't need to be too precise with cleaning it out, because actually using the varoma to steam, putting the water in there to steam what you've got in the varoma means that you're self-cleaning the bowl. It's going to, the water's fulfilling two functions. It's going to steam the molds that are in the varoma, and it's also going to clean out the bowl itself. So happy days. Right, so I've just filled that back up again, put about 500 ml of hot water. Now, you will need to be careful if you are steaming your puddings tomorrow. Do make sure that after each 90-minute phase, you top up the water. You will be prompted by the instructions on the Thermomix, but it will get through quite a lot of water. That goes on. Not going to bother cleaning my lid, I don't really need to because the water's going to clean the lid. If I just go back into my recipe, transfer to the pudding basin, cover with surface with a buttered circle of greaseproof paper, then cover it with a large circle of greaseproof paper, and then some foil. Well, obviously I've cheated a little bit this evening, but with the small ones you can get away with it. Okay, so here we go. Here's the instruction to clean out the mixing bowl. Then put in 2 litres. So if you're doing this, if you're steaming a large pudding, you are for 90 minutes, you are going to need 2 litres of hot water. If you don't have your water hot to start with, so if you don't fancy boiling the kettle, you can obviously use the kettle mode on the Thermomix to heat the water up to 100 degrees. It does recommend that you add some lemon juice. This is really just to prevent the stainless steel sort of corroding or rusting. I'm not sure it does a tremendous amount, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I've done it both ways. I've not put the lemon juice in and it's been fine. And then all we're going to do is just pop the varoma on top, like that, with the lid on. And then it's going to be preset to 90 minutes. I am just going to alter that. So I'm going to just make my dial, enlarge my dial so that this speeds the selector is going to operate the dial. And I'm just going to turn that round to 45 minutes. Aroma temperature, speed 2. And that's it. So there we go. How is everybody up to date with me? Has everybody managed to keep up? Hopefully I haven't gone too quickly.
We're a bit behind. We're trying to get the room started. Could you just do a really quick recap of now we've got them all into all the pots?
We've got them into the pots.
So you've done the little mini pots, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Have they got their little foil caps on?
Yep. They will all have in a minute. Yep.
What I did was I just cleaned out my mixing bowl quickly. I put about 500 ml of water, hot water, or boiling water, into the mixing bowl.
Yeah.
And then I've set 45 minutes, aroma temperature, speed 2.
Okay.
So effectively, I've used the same settings on the dals as the Christmas pudding, the big Christmas pudding recipe, but I've just reduced the time to 45 minutes. And then I'm just going to leave it to steam. And then I shall be eating one of those at approximately 9:30 this evening.
Thank you.
Along with the rest of the bottle of my Baileys, whilst watching I'm a Celebrity. So cheers, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, Sharon's got a thumbs up. Who else? Angela, Angela, have you've done everything? Yes, brilliant. Angela's got a thumbs up. Linda's got a Baileys. Oh, no, her toffee fee liqueur. What's that like? Delicious? One of my customers a couple of years ago.
Really nice.
Yeah, did the toffee fee liqueur, but did it with homemade fudge. And she said it was delicious instead of using the toffee fee. So you could do it with fudge. There you go. And make it all from scratch. How's yours worked out, Yola? Because I know you couldn't find the toffee fee. You've used caramel and chocolate. Very yes. There's big smiles on those girls' faces. Cheers. Brilliant. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Let me just, I'm going to stop recording now. There we go.